When my parents called to tell me they were hosting a big family celebration, I didn't think much of it at first. My mother said it was going to be a family-only dinner to honor my father's retirement and the new phase of their lives. I congratulated them sincerely and even offered to help with the arrangements. But then my mom hesitated. "Actually, Ethan," she said, "we're keeping it small. Just immediate family." I blinked. "I'm your son, Mom." She gave a quick laugh. "Of course, but you know what I mean, just your brothers, their wives, the grandkids. You've been so busy with work, and it's just easier this way." It stung, more than I wanted to admit. For years, I'd felt like the outsider in my family, the quiet one, the one who didn't follow the same path. My brothers stayed in our hometown, worked with Dad's business, and came over every weekend. I, on the other hand, had moved to the city, started my own company, and visited only when I could. Somehow, that had translated into me being distant. So when they excluded me, I didn't argue. I simply said, "All right, I understand. Hope it goes well." But what they didn't know, and what made the situation unexpectedly poetic, was that the house they were planning to celebrate in, the very home they'd lived in for years, legally belonged to me. 3 years earlier, my parents had hit financial trouble. My father's small construction business had gone under, and they were on the brink of losing the house. I'd stepped in quietly, paid off the mortgage, and arranged the paperwork so they could keep living there without stress. I never made a big deal about it because I didn't want them to feel ashamed or indebted. To them, nothing had changed, except the name on the deed. The night of the party arrived. I wasn't invited, but curiosity got the better of me. I didn't plan to crash the celebration, just to drive by and make sure everything was okay. As I approached, I saw cars lined up along the street, the driveway full. Through the windows, I could see laughter, clinking glasses, and my father beaming at the head of the table. For a moment, I smiled. They looked happy. Then I saw one of my brothers step outside with his wife. "Yeah," he was saying, "Ethan wouldn't fit in here anyway. He's too corporate now. Probably wouldn't understand what a real family dinner feels like." I froze. That familiar ache settled in again, the feeling of never being quite enough for them. I was about to leave when my phone buzzed. It was a call from my lawyer, reminding me that property taxes on the house were due and asking if I wanted to keep covering them under my name. That's when an idea formed, not out of spite, but out of clarity. Maybe it was time my family remembered what distant really meant. The next morning, I called my parents. My father picked up, cheerful from the previous night. "Ethan, you missed a great evening." "I heard," I said evenly. "Glad it went well." There was a pause, then he asked, "Is everything all right?" "Actually, I need to come by and talk about the house. Can we meet tomorrow?" When I arrived, both of them were in the living room looking concerned. My mom said, "Is something wrong with the bank again?" I sat down and explained gently, "No, nothing's wrong. But I realized you might have forgotten, the house is under my name. When I helped out a few years ago, it wasn't a loan. I took ownership so you could stay here without worry." Their eyes widened. My father's face went pale. "Wait, the house belongs to you?" I nodded. "Legally, yes. But practically, it's still your home. I never wanted to make you feel uncomfortable about it." My mother's voice trembled. We didn't know. Ethan, we never meant to leave you out." I smiled softly. "I know, Mom. I'm not here to take anything away. I just wanted you to realize something. Being part of the family isn't about who lives closer or shows up more. It's about who shows up when it matters." They were silent for a long moment. Then my father sighed heavily and said, "Son, I think we owe you more than an apology." We sat together that afternoon, finally talking honestly for the first time in years. They admitted how they'd taken my quiet support for distance, and I admitted that my silence sometimes made it easy for them to assume I didn't care. By the end of that day, the walls between us felt lighter. Later that week, my mom called again, her tone warmer than I'd heard in a long time. "Ethan, we're planning a family dinner again next month, but this time, it's at your house, officially. And you're not just invited, you're the guest of honor." It wasn't revenge that made me smile that day. It was the peace of knowing that sometimes, the quiet ones don't need to shout to be heard. They just need the truth to speak for them.